do 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 do. Welcome to the family with
Co-host Catherine Brandt,
Doug Sprinthal.
And Andy Brandt Bernard.
and perhaps Alex Rasmussen at some
Maybe.
point in time.
We don't know for sure. I've been waiting for this show to start to go to this thing because I want to get everybody involved in it. 40% of families have holiday fights every year.
Oh,
The main topics to avoid at Christmas time. Do you, before I click on this, are there any things that you can see, the three of you, that should be avoided, topics avoided at Christmas time?
Well, I mean,
Well,
there's the ones that have been
yeah.
a staple forever: religion, politics, and what's the third one?
Probably
Gun
these
control.
days.
Throw that on there.
Gun control, that's
Nothing
it.
says like the birth of our Lord, like a fight about gun control.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be religion and politics or just old family, garbage,
Grudges.
baggage, yeah. Because, I mean, I have a brother who for years, every time there was a family gathering, he had to be at least an hour late, at least. Which, I mean, everybody just was PO'd because, I mean, I don't know if most people have put on a Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas or a holiday dinner of some kind. It takes days. It's a lot of preparation. My mother used to do basically all the cooking. Maybe we'd bring a dish, but she'd put out quite the spread. Just cooking her butt off for days, and then somebody comes in, an hour and a half late. It's just not cool. So
And
everybody
that's not Midwestern. And if you're invited for dinner at 5 o'clock, by God, you're going to be sitting
Yeah.
down at 5 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yep.
normal Midwesterners come at 1 and
That's
help.
right.
True.
That's
Yeah.
normal, but not this guy. So anyway, he'd always be late. My mother would always be hurt before he even got there because he was late. And then he always had to start picking the fights all the time. And it was just like, what? I finally sat him down and I said, you know what? Why don't you just not come? What? What do you mean? I said, you make everyone miserable. You seem to be miserable. I mean, you obviously don't even want to be here if you're always late and then you're always mad and you're always picking fights. And he actually didn't realize he was doing that.
Huh.
He didn't?
He had no idea.
Some people are just like naturally inclined to, like, they'll just make what they think is like an offhand comment or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, it probably is an offhand comment, but comments can lead to things.
Yeah, it does lead to things. But I also think some people, they fall into their birth order. Like my sister, when she was 70, she decided that she was going to actually call up her brothers and air her grievances about what they did to her when she was 10.
Oh, God.
Huh.
She was 10 years old. They said something to her that, that she's been mad at them for, 60 years.
That's what they do in the Middle East. Remember that land grab you guys made in 5000 BC?
That is true.
Yes. I mean, I don't know what it is, but sometimes just bringing the family together just dredges up all of this internal turmoil that they've never dealt with. And some people just don't get over stuff. I don't know. That's what I think.
Our family is all here. We've gotten along wonderfully the whole time.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really had any major fights.
Not a knockdown, like screaming
No.
match. I mean, I know some people who have actually had.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Their brothers have had fist fights at Christmas.
The Christmas fist fight.
Oh boy.
Can't even
That'd be something to
imagine.
watch. Alex, what's up?
Hello. I had to take Birch to the vet this morning. That's why I'm.
Birch.
Oh, no. Is his Lyme worse or?
It's not. We don't think it's the Lyme that's causing. So Birch has been limping for a month, and he has Lyme now, which is not shocking because we have
Ticks of
ticks
galore.
everywhere.
Ticks
some
galore,
possums.
yes.
I would love some possums.
Get some guinea hens.
I would love.
Guinea hens, yeah.
Well, they're very loud, and I don't think we're allowed to have them.
Probably not.
They just
Possums.
they're just running around in the forest.
I
Who's
would
going to
love
say where they came from?
Release them.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody.
I didn't do it.
These,
They're
They just
wild.
moved here.
Weird. It's
They must
crazy.
have heard about the ticks.
Yeah, they'd be well fed. And he's been on an antibiotic for like 2-3 weeks, and it hasn't helped.
That usually
And
doesn't.
so now he's on an anti-inflammatory.
I'm guessing
Well,
they've checked for luxating patella, that sort of thing.
It's in
Well,
his
he
front.
was like, 4-leg lameness is tough because
4 leg.
when an animal has 4 legs.
Oh, I was going to
yeah,
say.
all of his legs.
All of his legs
Every
don't work.
single leg is broken.
Might want to check the brain in that case.
Yeah. No, she's like, it's tough to diagnose like where the problem's actually coming from because it can come from their neck, it can come from their,
Yep.
That's
true.
And she was like, and there's stuff that we can't see on an X-ray, so there could be tendon issues that we can't see. So
Yeah.
she's like, we're just because he's had arthritis for a couple of years, and in the X-ray, she's like, you can tell there is arthritis, but it's not like crazy. And so she's like, we'll just say it's arthritis and we'll give you 10 days of an anti-inflammatory. And if that doesn't make it better, then it's not arthritis. It's caused by something else. And then we'd have to be referred to an orthopedic dog person.
Dog guy.
Yeah.
Well, I have lived through a lot of Lyme episodes, and I went to the University of Minnesota, and I've gone to a vet in Florida. I went to a vet up there, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And usually the first course is prednisone and antibiotics.
Yikes.
The first time it flares.
That'd make me feel real good.
It did. It cleared Jude up, and he was actually screaming in pain. It was terrible.
yeah.
I thought he was just dying, and it helped in like 3 days.
Huh.
Yeah.
And then he had another smaller flare, and then they just put him on antibiotics, and now he's been good for a long time. So
They gave him, I don't know what anti-inflammatory. I feel like it started with an L. I don't know. But here's hoping it helps.
yeah,
Yep, no
Here's hoping.
question.
I hate that when your dog's sick or hurts.
I know
He'll be
they were
fine.
like he was such a gentleman. He was so perfect, and I'm like he always
Yep.
is.
He
all of the
always
time.
is, yep.
Such a sweet
You
dog.
can never have anything wrong with him, actually.
Let's
because
write a
he's perfect.
Commercial for Birch from Sally Struthers.
Exactly.
Truly
Sally
the
Struthers.
best dog ever
Step it up.
Everyone cried.
in the history of
it's
dogs.
It's
He's
very sweet.
fantastic.
All right, the holidays are coming up. It means a lot of family infighting. Here are the main topics that can start a fight and why it might be best to avoid them. Okay, everybody gets to chirp and chime in, I mean.
Politics,
Is this
religion.
Yeah, that's the two I said.
Yeah.
Yep. Is this a real list or is this going to be like Taylor Swift's newest album?
No, it's a real list.
No.
Taylor Swift's latest album, yes. Doug's been fighting with his family about that one. He wants
I'm
to
a
listen
big
to it.
Swiftie.
Swifty. Okay, a poll found 40% of families deal with open disagreements around the holidays, and that's without factoring in the election. Oh my, you don't even factor in the election?
God, I'm so
Yeah.
glad we're not doing Thanksgiving with my brother.
Yeah. Oh, it would be maybe rough. It's going to be a rough Thanksgiving for a lot of people.
Yes.
It is all true. Okay, so here's where we go. I got to go down to the bottom here. I'm going to start at the top, actually. Politics is the number one topic that can start a fight, but it didn't win by much. The top three are, number one, as we said, politics. 34% of people said it's a frequent point of tension in their family,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Actually, there are members of my family that haven't spoken in about 25 years because of politics.
I have a really, really good life hack for everyone.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
If you know that you and someone don't agree on something, but you have to be together, don't talk about it.
Yeah, for real.
But they always have to.
I know it's a wild idea,
Mm-hmm.
but like if I was a super MAGA person and I was going to go to Thanksgiving with Andy, who is the socialist, I would be like, let's talk about other stuff.
There's a lot of people who would, like they'd sit down and they'd be having a conversation about like cars. They'd be like, "Oh, what kind of car do you have? A Dodge?" And they'd be like, "Oh, dodged a bullet with Harris, right?" Do that.
It's so true.
Why?
Like it has to be brought
There
up
you
in
go.
every
Yeah.
and it's just
Very
like
true.
you know that you don't agree on this thing. So
Right.
why
Some people love fighting. It
talk
makes
about
them. It's exciting to them, I think.
Yeah, and I would be if I had any of that in my life with family, I would just be like, you can't come
Yeah.
unless you're going to avoid these topics.
Yep.
Well, remember that
These-
one Christmas?
Yes, you did that, Mom.
Yep. I actually put a note on the door. I said, when you come in, it was Christmas Eve. I said, we are not going to be talking about politics and we're not going to be talking about religion. And if you need to do that, just don't come in. You're not welcome.
How about we can talk about religion, but no one's religion here?
And of
We can
course,
discuss like
Yeah.
Buddhism.
Taoism.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Taoism.
and of course, one person came in and took me aside and said, "So we can't talk about the fact that this is our Lord and Savior's birthday." And I said, "Not tonight.
Sorry, no.
We
Talk
can go
about
downstairs
literally
and talk about it. We can go in the attic and talk about it, but we can't talk about it in the general pool of humanity here. This is not going to
I know,
happen."
it's sad but true. It's like, technically speaking, yeah, Christmas is about Jesus, but don't bring it up.
Yeah,
Why?
if
Bring it up
you're
in your
around
own
somebody
home.
that's going to be,
Because when
I
you-
mean, well, and even within the same religion,
That's true.
there are people that there are people. My kids go to a religious school. There are people at our school that don't celebrate Halloween because they believe that it's
Right.
like a celebration
Pagan.
of Satan
Yeah.
and
Or
the
God.
evil.
Mhm.
And
you do,
and there are a lot of kids at our school that their families don't do Santa because they think it takes away the
Yeah.
spotlight from Jesus. And so
Why can't Jesus be the one who brings presents to everyone?
it's
Jesus
Jesus.
gets in his
Yeah.
sleigh and
Very busy.
his flaming chariot.
Yeah.
He gave his life for humanity. What other gifts did you
Yeah.
want?
What do you want from him? What do you want
A
from the
lighter?
guy?
No, it's
Jeez.
2,000 years ago.
Me
It's,
want to tickle me
Yeah, those-
elbow.
That's old news, according to Andy. It's 2,000 years
Yeah.
ago, whatever.
Blood
Some
and a
socks.
tickle me Elmo.
Yeah. What have you done
he's
lately?
been riding high on that one accomplishment for
Yeah.
2,000 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is unbelievable. Okay, number 2. So politics was number 1. Number 2, family dynamics and past grievances, 32%.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
So ongoing stuff that's been brewing and then bubbles over every Christmas. Why?
Again, some people think that arguing is a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
Or they get
That's it.
addicted to the adrenaline rush or whatever.
Well, and some people just have that tribalism thing. They have to belong to a group of people that thinks like I remember in
Yep.
high school there were boys that were arguing constantly. They were kind of like buddies, but like I don't think the term frenemies was out yet.
frenemies,
They were
yeah.
Rivals.
And it was Ford versus Chevy.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, when I was a kid, it was Sega versus Nintendo, and friendships would break over. You have the Genesis, I got the Super Nintendo. We can't be friends. You watch
Yeah.
Digimon, I watch Pokemon. We can't be friends.
Yeah.
Kids
It's-
are just. And so a lot of people
Well, and it's
never
not
grow
just
out of that.
kids. Yeah, it is not just kids. Same thing with sports or anything. People
Mm-hmm.
can get so fanatical about things that that's their entire identity. Look at politics right
Yep.
now. It's their entire identity.
And it's like you could argue that politics is, important. It's like if you don't believe with me, then you believe I should die or whatever. It's probably not true, but
Nobody
you could
really
make the
thinks that.
argument.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Ford versus Chevy, it's like who really cares?
Doug, you must
lot
care.
of people.
Doug,
No, I don't.
car guy.
For all these years in the car business, you don't have one
Pointless.
that just is the best.
But I mean, even if it is the best, does it really matter? It's like, if I think my
Yeah.
car is the best and someone else has a different car, why does that truly matter?
It doesn't. Not at
Exactly.
all.
No.
Catherine, what year was that again? That just before, I don't know, I think it was Thanksgiving, not Christmas. But there was a story about me on television, and they had to bring up income and all that stuff. Remember, we went to a holiday celebration, and some guy was pissed off at me, and we finally discovered why he was pissed off at me. Well, let's be honest. I saw the story. You've got enough money. You could write a check to everybody here, and you wouldn't even feel it. Remember that?
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, we had a neighbor that all of a sudden just started hating our guts because she heard that we were building a $10 million house in Prior Lake. I'm like, well, nope, none of
Oh,
this
that's
is true. Where did you hear this? And now you hate me because of some weird rumor that's running around?
It's not even real.
Yeah, not even close.
Why do people do that? Why do people want to attack one another? I don't get it.
Like I said, it's like a tribe.
I guess it must be tribal. I suppose that's probably true. But yeah, okay, the third one, a tie between relationships and finances. Uh-oh, there it is. Both at 25%. So try to avoid phrases like, that wife of yours is why you don't have any money. Yeah, let's not say that to anybody. What do you-
Sometimes the truth hurts. I'm going to go get my plug-in for my computer. Battery's running low. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
Okay, she's got to plug her
So you need a
computer in.
portable battery.
So I have a question for everybody. How many of these Christmas or holiday fights would be solved by not serving alcohol at dinner?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Probably 95%. I'm done.
Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Mhm.
You just reminded me of a guy I used to work with when I used to work at Bladholm Brothers. He came back to work after Christmas and he looked all depressed and all the rest of it. Apparently, the day before Christmas, he went in and had a bunch of his teeth, pulled and replaced with the new shiny ones and all the rest of it.
You shiny one.
Standing over the old Christmas buffet, apparently the missing teeth or the new teeth made him vomit all over the buffet.
Oh, thanks for sharing that holiday cheer
Can
story.
you imagine that?
I can actually.
Oh, God, that'd be horrible. Okay, so arguing about these things is usually pointless, but here's another reason to avoid them. There's one in 3 chance it becomes a war. The poll found a third of holiday fights end up escalating into lasting rifts that can impact relationships for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Why? Why do you care about things like
People
that?
get pissed off about dumb stuff.
But why? You're related.
Well, I mean, you have to imagine that the relationship isn't that great in the first place.
No, yeah,
if that can
obviously,
happen.
yeah.
It's like best friends aren't going to stop talking to one another because,
Yeah.
one's Lutheran and one's Catholic.
Well, that's like during COVID, Dan and his brother were arguing about things because they didn't agree with how things should be going. And it
Okay.
got like pretty ridiculous. And I had to be like, either don't talk to him anymore or drop it. Like, I don't want to hear about it anymore. So you either need to stop talking to your brother entirely because you can't stop arguing, or you need to leave COVID regulations out of the conversation and move on with your life. I was like, this is ridiculous.
It is.
And so then they just dropped it, and now they're great friends.
See, I'm a child of the
There you go.
live and let live kind
Yeah.
of generation.
Yeah.
I don't understand this new world where everything has to be judged and you have to be compartmentalized. We didn't want to be labeled when I was coming up.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't. Now it's like that's all anybody is a big label of whatever the thing is today to be. I don't understand this. I really don't understand this pitting everybody against each other and people wanting this. To me, it's really a horrible way to live. It's like a low trust society. I just don't know how it ends up
sure
being
is.
happy ever again.
Well,
If you
it's-
can't just let people live.
That's what our politicians do to us. They get us all whipped up. First of all, right now there are 5 people on this show. Is there any one of the 5 people on the show right now that has a political view that's going to destroy America? You have that much power that you're going to destroy this country with your political beliefs.
Me.
How nuts is that?
She's the annihilator.
The Annihilator,
Can't tell it.
Alex.
I can't tell it to you. You'd be too distressed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just
I'm
don't
not supposed to
understand.
tell anyone, but the
Yeah.
Mongol horde's coming back.
But I've got it.
Yeah, Mongol horde is coming back, no question. But I don't understand. I really don't understand shaving your head and refusing to have sex with your husband for the next 4 years because Donald Trump won the election.
So
You
that's-
gotta think
this
that's
is my
almost
Eng-
like Sorry,
This,
go ahead,
this is
Doug.
my English major coming out for me. That's a ancient play written by Aristophanes
Lysistrata.
500 years before Christ. The
Uh-oh.
You froze up again.
You sure did.
Oh.
everybody
He's
else.
freezing up.
There
You
it
froze
is.
up. You froze
there
up
you
for
are.
like the 5th time.
You know,
Yep.
I'm gonna turn the camera off. It's snowing really hard down here. I think it's messing.
Oh,
up the
maybe that's what
Oh.
it is. But we'll still be able to hear you, right?
Wait, where are you?
Yeah. I'm at home.
Looks like.
Oh, it's
Down-
snowing that hard?
Well, it is. It has been the
Oh.
last half hour. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I was only supposed to get a dusting, I thought. I guess
Here
things
we've
change.
only had a dusting.
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay, so what were you saying, Doug?
No, I said it's just an old play where there were 2 warring factions, and the women said, "All right, you guys, you want to keep trying to kill each other? No more fun time until the war
Yep.
is over."
Yep.
Well,
Is that Lysistrata or is that Assemblywomen? I can't.
No, it is Lysistrata. Yeah.
Lysistrata, okay. I always get the two confused.
But I mean, they're not killing each other. That's the whole thing.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, to tell you the truth, it sounds like to me that these women probably wanted a divorce anyway.
Oh, yeah.
well,
This is
yeah,
just
I
an
don't think so.
excuse.
Yep.
And,
You know,
and like
I mean,
everything
you don't
else,
take, you don't take somebody that you love and say, oh, even if you are with me, I now hate you because you're just part of this
Yep, I have
enemy
to punish you
tribe.
because you're part of the wrong gender. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, if they
not
hear
healthy.
themselves talking, it sounds like a mental illness.
But let's be honest, it's probably what, half a dozen or 10 people. So we get the
Well,
that's true.
magnifying glass out and go,
Yeah.
all women are cutting off men because of the election. No. That's
Yeah,
Right.
true.
cut it out.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's quite overblown.
Yeah.
And I really don't understand. I've never, ever seen an election where I went, oh my God, the wrong person won. I have never cared about that at all. I've been a Democrat, I've been a Republican, I'm pretty much centrist now. I don't care. It just, I don't understand why people get so whipped up about this stuff. We'll get through it. We'll live through it all. We've lived through every president so far, have we not?
Yep, we've all survived somehow.
I've only lived through what, 5 or 6 of them.
Well, that's still, you live through all of them.
There's no man alive who's lived through all 45 presidents.
There was a
No.
story that I was reading
46.
about Savant. This woman, her name was Savant. She
Marilyn?
yeah,
Yeah.
Marilyn Vos Savant, yeah.
She has the highest IQ ever recorded or something.
She's still alive?
No,
Yeah. Well,
I don't
thought
think
she
so.
I would
I think
assume she is. I
She is,
imagine
yeah.
she'd be about 60.
No, she's 78.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently there was this big thing that happened. I must have been in the 60s then. There was I don't know if she posed the question or if it was posed to her. It was like, what's that game show with the
Oh,
three
you're talking about the
curtains?
Monty Hall problem, aren't
Yeah,
you?
the Monty Hall problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you got 3 doors to choose from, and you picked number 1, and Monty Hall picked number 2, and behind number 2 was a goat. Was the goat? You either want to go, you got a car, or there are 2 goats. And Monty Python,
Monty Python.
Monty
Yeah.
Hall goat. Should you change your
Right.
guess?
Yeah, so the rules are there's 3 doors, 2 have a goat, 1 has a car.
Yeah.
You pick a door, but before that door opens, Monty will open one of the wrong doors.
Yeah, and there's a
So
goat.
he'll open up one of the goat ones, and then he'll say, "Do you want to change or do you want to keep your original guess?"
And she said you should always change.
Yes.
And I guess the mathematical community went crazy and told her how stupid, that was the worst thing she could ever say, and
Why?
it's statistically stupid.
Well, people are still debating this to this day, even though it has been proven that you
That she
should
was-
switch.
She was right. Because it's not, everybody's thinking of it as a 50-50 problem.
Oh, yeah, right.
And it's not a 50-50 problem.
Well, the real crux that a lot of people forget is that when Monty opens one of the doors, he knows which door is the wrong one, so he's intentionally eliminating one of the wrong doors. So he can't eliminate the correct door.
Mm-hmm.
So what
Right.
remains is a 50-50 chance of being right. But your first chance was a 1 in 3 chance of being right.
Right. Exactly.
Therefore, switching is always the right thing to do.
Switching is always the right thing to do, which, I mean, I would be, your instinct is probably, well, he picked the wrong door, so I have a 50%
Yeah, that-
chance of being right.
Right. And
But that's, I guess,
technically,
not it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you
But,
could
I mean,
think
she-
of it that way, but yeah.
She
should always
she was discredited for a long time over her answer.
And like I said, people are still
Yeah.
they're still online. They're talking about it. People are saying you should always switch, and people say no, you shouldn't always switch. And they're
Like I said, but that's my point. It's like, is anybody going to die over this? And they're still kvetching about this.
still, yeah. Monty
decades
Hall
later.
went off the air when? Let's see. When did Monty Hall go off the air? It comes from Let's Make a Deal.
Let's make a deal. My mom used to watch that. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
where all the people dressed up and wanted to get
Yep.
chosen? And
Yep.
Went
all
off the
that stuff?
air shortly before I was born.
Okay.
Really?
So there you
38
go.
years ago.
Almost 40 years, and people
Almost
are still discussing whether or not you should switch doors when you haven't had the opportunity to pick a door in 4 decades.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, people just get into stuff and you're never going to get them out.
Yeah, you
Just-
sure do.
It's just human nature. Much less an election like this one where, the mainstream media was calling everybody virtual Hitlers.
Yep.
I mean,
Hitler and
yeah.
Nazi.
I said that
and
about
this-
you one time, Mom.
Yeah, she only called you a Nazi once.
I mean, they
that was
get
it.
so wound up. I mean, they hear these inflammatory words and their emotions take over and they can't do anything but worry and be fearful.
You know what's great about that? Not one person that brings that up was alive during the whole Nazi thing anyway. There are
that's
some people
true.
that are 105 years old,
Well,
but
wait
they
a
don't
minute.
get involved in that conversation.
Biden is alive during World War II.
Pretty close, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. That is true. You're right about. Now that you
Actually,
brought him
wait.
up, I got to ask you.
Wasn't he? Didn't
He
Biden-
was,
didn't
yeah.
World War II end in 45?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Biden was alive during World War II, so
Yeah.
he wasn't sentient yet. He was 3 when it ended, but still.
I have a question for you. Why on earth, on your way out the door, would you give the nod to Ukraine to start bombing the piss out of Russia with American missiles? Why would you do that?
Well, the theory is now Trump has to hold the ball. That's why.
Exactly.
It's like
That's what I
here's
really
here's a
do.
world war. Have fun, jerk.
I think this was a great big FU.
Kind of seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
He sure did look happy though when Kamala lost. I will tell you that.
Yeah,
Joe,
he did.
Joe looked very happy when she lost. I guess.
Well, I mean,
Well, that's kind of a kick in the nuts to be the president and go,
Well-
"You're too old. Go away."
Oh, but he is.
He
That's
is.
the
I know
thing.
he is.
it
just
would be
is.
different if he was a vibrant, on the ball guy.
Right.
He's
Right.
just not. He's wandering into the Amazon forest. He doesn't know where he is. That debate, he didn't even know what was going on.
that was
I mean,
rough.
the guy has cognitive problems. It's not like people are making that up, and it probably just didn't happen overnight right before the debate. People were talking about this right after the election.
Well,
that
the
he
funny
didn't
thing
seem
is,
to be on
we're going to be going
the
through the exact same thing in about 4 years when our next president is in.
ball. Yeah, but he can only
exactly
be in
right.
office for 4 years.
That's true. He can't come back, but still, it's
cannot
the
come
last
back.
2 years of his term. He's going to be in his 80s, right?
I just
Mm-hmm.
don't understand.
So-
I mean, most corporations don't they have mandatory retirement times? Like you have to be
don't-
out of here by.
I don't know about mandatory. I think that's
I thought
technically
you
illegal.
did. Oh, well,
Do they?
I don't know.
Well,
I-
airline pilots, there's mandatory retirement.
Yeah,
God,
they're,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think
well, you would think
military
the
people-
leader of the free world would have a mandatory, age. limit.
No, it is illegal to force retirement or have mandatory retirement age, except for there's a few professions that can.
Well, yeah, like if you're driving people around.
Public safety is the if your
Wow.
job would have they're gonna if you're a bus driver
Yeah.
and you want to drive around when you're 95, they're gonna be like no,
All right.
and
well,
they're entitled to say that, I would say. But yeah, president, you'd think he's responsible for a lot of lives.
yeah, and then there's Nancy Pelosi, she's been around. There was a photo of her at John Kennedy's inauguration.
She's
Oh,
84.
God.
Yeah,
She's 84 and
Way
she's
back.
running again. She says she's running again. And she was the one that was saying that Trump was so old he shouldn't be able to run again.
God.
And wasn't she instrumental in getting rid of Biden because he was
That's
Yeah.
what they say.
yeah, I mean, this woman is like such a hypocrite.
Well, her father was the mayor of Baltimore, so
Really?
She
She
learned.
said, if I had hundreds
Yeah.
of millions of dollars like Nancy Pelosi, the last thing I would want to do is be involved in politics.
No,
I'd
just
be like enjoying my life.
Yeah, enjoy your sunset years, Nancy.
Yeah.
She,
But she's the kind of person. This is how she enjoys them.
she loves the power.
Yep, there's people who, if they're not like in control of something, then they're just not happy. You can give them $10 million in a private island with infinite Mai Tais, and they're going to be like, "This is horrible."
Infinite Mai Tais.
Well, that would get boring after
Andy,
a while.
would you look that up and see when was Nancy Pelosi's father? I believe he was the mayor of Baltimore.
Wasn't
I think he
like
founded
a-
Baltimore, actually.
Wasn't he like
long ago.
wasn't he involved in like not such wonderful
Thomas
things?
D'Alessandro Jr.
That's correct.
I think he was sort of a monster.
He was in
wasn't he?
office. Let's see, 1947 to 1959.
So for 12 years, he was the mayor of Baltimore.
Yep.
So there you
Baltimore's a
go.
lovely place. And everyone should visit.
Well, 100 years ago, it might have been. I don't know.
Yeah, well, two of my favorite movies were shot in that time frame: Diner and Tin Men.
Yep, absolutely.
Diner.
Never even heard of either of
Gonna
them.
say
Which one was
Hairspray.
Diner?
Diner was kind of Kevin Bacon, a whole bunch
Yeah,
of they
young
were
guys.
just graduated from high school.
Yep.
It took place in a diner, and Tin Men is a great movie. It's about aluminum siding salesmen.
Oh,
It's Danny
right.
DeVito and Richard Dreyfuss.
yeah.
It's really funny.
Oh, we're gonna have to watch those. I don't know if I know either of those.
We should
movies.
watch.
Start with Tin Men. The diner's kind of like American
And there's the
He
freeze.
broke
again.
up again.
Okay. I never know if
Like
my
there.
headphones
But I think
came
Tinman's a better
unplugged or.
movie.
Yeah,
Nancy
you dropped out
Pelosi-
again,
Yeah.
Dougie.
Nancy Pelosi's father was born in 1903,
Really? 1903.
almost 19th century.
Wow.
He'll be 121 years old now, but
Yeah.
other than that, everything's good. Yeah, I just, again, kind of the same subject, but re-reference maybe. I just don't understand when if you have no power whatsoever in your political party, and people are still pissed off at you that you're a member of that political party. You don't control it. Why do they care so much? I don't get it. You guys understand that they get all upset over one party or the other. Makes no sense to me.
I literally could never talk about politics ever again in my life and be so happy.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's exactly what we're talking about. You and I are not going to make a big difference anyway. What's the difference? Well, I suppose back in the day when,
Well, that's what I told my brother, who talks about politics like nonstop. He used to
Yeah.
call me up. He'd watch MSNBC and be all mad and call me up and tell me how horrible the United States was, that all the babies are dying and we're all dying because he watched MSNBC. And I'm like, I
Right.
finally said, listen, I am not the enemy here.
there you go.
I don't want to spend my days angry because I watch the news. When you call me up and you're all angry, it makes me feel badly that you feel angry because you're watching the news. Could we stop doing this? And he just stopped calling me.
Yeah.
Hardly ever talk to him
I
anymore.
don't know. To me, it's like someone pounding a nail into their hand and then calling you up and being like, "Man, my hand hurts so much." And it's like, well, yeah, you pounded a
Help
nail
me.
into it.
Well, do you
Maybe
think
stop doing that. And they're like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not going to stop."
Well, I think it's an adrenaline rush or
It is.
endorphins.
Absolutely.
It releases something
Yeah.
to be all mad all the time about stuff, I think.
Well, and I also like to point out, and I've been thinking about that for a long time, and it affected me greatly back in the day when a certain group of people went after me. Do they not understand? Okay, Doug, I'm gonna single you out on this. So I'm mad at Doug. So I go after Doug and try to ruin Doug's life. Well, I've now just ruined his wife's life, his children's lives, all around. Why don't they ever think of all the other people that are hurt by you being such a jerk to one person?
Because all that matters are my feelings.
But you're harming people that had nothing to do with it. It
Doesn't
just-
matter. My feelings are what's important.
I guess that's true.
Yep.
Did Doug go home?
No, I'm here. I
He's,
just
he's out shoveling.
it's not that bad.
Not yet.
No, I think people are mean, and it's social media. We've had this conversation a million
Yes.
times. It's a
Yep.
wall they can hide behind. They would
Yep.
never say the shit to your face.
No. No, that's a good point. That's a really, really good point. I really wish it would stop, though. Hey, you lived a different life. You came up differently than I do. If you have different political views, I understand that. We are not the same. It's not that big a deal to me. Never has been, actually.
It's actually a good thing we're not the same.
I agree.
Yes, and people having a different opinion is how you come to conclusions that are beyond your little narrow scope of experience.
Exactly right. I mean, I always tell people you would never.
You would never.
Doug, you're going to be coming in from now on.
Yeah,
on
I think so.
Just hold up a whiteboard and we'll read what you want to say.
Honest to God, you've been breaking up the
Oh,
whole.
shit.
What are you going to do?
I better sign off. I'm sorry.
That's
Well,
okay.
you can call in on the phone. We've only got 15 minutes left, so
Yeah, drive through the snow, get in the studio.
I get here just in time for that.
Yeah.
No,
I'll
if
just
you
sit
want to
here
just
quietly.
call in, well, you can call in. That'd be good if you
Okay,
want.
I can do that.
All right. Do you know the number? Does Andy give you the number?
No, why don't you put it in the chat, Andy? I don't think I
Oh,
have it.
yeah,
in
sure.
front of me.
All right. Yeah. So, Dougie will be coming in to do this. Just because it snows, he stays home. You pill.
Well, I've noticed down here in Florida when it's really cloudy, my cell phone does not work nearly as well.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't make
Huh.
any sense. It's
No,
just
it
cloud
doesn't.
cover, and Florida is very flat. So you would think that the satellite signals would get through the clouds.
It's not a
but
satellite. It's a tower.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to work as well.
What are you gonna do? That's all. It's been cloudy here for what, 4 straight days now.
Oh, we saw the sun this morning. The
sun was out
It
this
has
morning.
been odd for it to be so cloudy.
It's been very well because there apparently was another hurricane that went through.
Well, yeah, it was a tropical storm that was going to turn into a hurricane, but then it didn't, and it was over in Texas, and now it's across the Gulf of Mexico, and now it's supposedly coming through Florida, but it might have fallen apart by now.
Yeah,
don't think it's
I
gonna
haven't
be
checked
anything. It's very odd for there to be tropical storms in November.
Right. I think that's probably true. Is Dougie back on with us?
I am, sir.
Oh, look, that's much better.
We can't look. He's on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
It all works out in the end. That's all I have to say. But yeah, I just do you think people will ever get to the point that they'll go, hey, you know what? You grew up different than I did. You had a different life. I understand why you'd vote the way you vote. Are they ever going to understand this, or is it?
I think the majority of people are like that.
I hope so.
Yes.
I really do.
I
I
think
can only hope.
this can all be
My
looped back.
fear is that at some point we're going to look back on this as the good old days.
Yeah, you wonder, don't you?
You think it'll get worse?
It could. I mean, look at Eastern Europe. How they've been doing for the past several hundred years.
Well,
That's a very good point.
ever since we decided to let the Ukraine use American missiles to go into the interior of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
What was that, yesterday?
Yeah,
the day
I don't
before?
understand that at all. That seems crazy.
A lot of European countries have been handing out kits and information about what to do during nuclear war. They're so worried about it.
Oh, Jesus.
Lovely.
This is not a good thing. I don't know why didn't Biden want to go out in a blaze of glory in a good way? Why didn't he like go to North Carolina and help all those people that are still living in tents that have nothing, that are losing their property to land grabbers because they can't even afford to rebuild their houses, and they can't insure that anymore because all of a sudden it's a floodplain, even though it had never been a floodplain. Now it's a floodplain.
Right.
All this horrible stuff is happening. He could go in there and really make a difference in a ton of people's lives. Instead, he sends U.S. missiles into Russia. It just, I mean, what does he have left? 60 days?
Yeah.
40 days?
Yeah, it's about 60 days.
What the hell is he doing? And why isn't this the story of all time? This is a story that actually matters.
I agree. Well, it's January 20th when Trump takes over, right?
Yes.
I think that's-
So,
Well,
so it's
there's like the
exact-
6th is when they confirm it, and then the
Right.
20th is when the power gets maneuvered, whatever.
So it's exactly 2 months from today. So there you go.
There you go.
And perhaps Biden doesn't understand that a lot of Americans didn't want to be involved in the Ukrainian crap anyway, which is
true.
one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't vote that way.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
Don't want to spend endless amounts of money on an endless war again.
I really wish
I
everybody.
wonder if that's kind of a generational thing because, well, Catherine, you and I are almost the same age, and Tom a bit older, but we grew up when the Russians were the enemy. I mean, we
Yes.
were
Yep.
taught to hate them. I mean, we changed the national, not the national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance because of the Russians. That's when we added under God because they were
Right.
godless communists. And I think that people that are younger, and maybe Alex and Andy, they might not have been raised the same way. They grew up, either side of when the Berlin Wall fell, and it's maybe a different orientation. That could be part of it.
We grew up, it was the tail end of every bad guy in movies being Russian.
Yeah.
So it still was a thing.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like if there was a Russian character in a cartoon or something, you knew right off the bat they're the bad guy.
Yes.
But it was like it was
Enough.
it was a trope at that point, and we didn't really take it too seriously. We weren't taught that Russians are evil. We were just if there's a bad guy, he's going to be Russian. That's how it is.
Yeah, when I was a kid, they taught us how to hide under those bomb-proof desks we had.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Duck.
Absolutely.
And cover.
Now I have to do safety drills for
Shooters.
other.
Oh,
fun-
you do safety drills?
Yeah. School shooters, they often.
Oh, really?
Well, it happens pretty often.
I mean, for most schools, it's about as likely as getting hit with an atomic bomb, but it sure gets a lot of publicity.
Oh, it happens actually
It should.
way more than atomic bombs.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, almost every year.
Oh,
There's at least 2 or 3
Oh yeah,
colleges.
no question. So what do you talk to because you talk to what, like first, second graders, that age?
I'm in preschool through third.
Pre through third. So how do you talk to them? Don't they get scared as hell when you talk to them about that stuff?
We don't say, we call it a safety drill. We don't say
Oh,
it's a
okay.
shooter drill. We don't say,
Well,
like,
it's not
I
called a
asked,
shooter drill.
I
That's a
asked
good
Fawn
idea.
in first grade what she thinks that was for.
Mhm.
So I was like, what did your teacher tell? Like, what are you hiding from? And she's like if somebody came into the school and was gonna like steal stuff.
No, there you go. Good.
So they don't really know. I mean, there are some kids that for sure are like, if somebody brought a gun in here, because there are people that tell their kids about school shooters and all this stuff. I mean, I have a friend that's upset that her daughter can't wear her watch, her smartwatch, to be able to call 911 in case of a school shooter.
See, that's irresponsible to put that in your kid's head.
So why can't you use it?
Our school has a no smartwatch.
Well, that makes
policy.
sense. Our school had a no Tamagotchi policy.
Well,
You're not allowed
probably
to,
because
because you can have games on your watch and stuff like that.
I
well,
mean,
not
we-
only that, but people could do false alarms. I mean, they could be,
Yeah.
oh, a math test I didn't want. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Well, and
mean,
that's the
they could
thing.
do
I
anything.
talked to her about it because I was like, I'm with the school on this one. Because she's like, you can put it onto a, like, the parent can put in a code apparently that locks it so you can only call 911
Mm.
in case of an emergency. But I'm like, but then they would have to allow smartwatches for every kid. And then some
Yeah.
kids' parents could not put it onto 911 mode, and then they could be playing games.
Yeah.
And then it would just start a whole.
Well, I remember when they had to
thing.
ban yo-yos.
Yeah.
Because kids would bring yo-yos into class and just play with yo-yos.
Yeah,
You can't let a kid have anything or they will play with it.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
phone